a fan of Rogan, and I discovered Owen through that third interview he did with Joe Rogan, where Kurt Metzger came on, and so I tweeted something out along the lines of, well, I really enjoyed that interview, and I would like to hear more of what this Owen guy has to say. Now that was, way back. That was way back when. So this guy Canna, who we don't have to mention, but he basically reached out to me on Twitter and added me to his Discord, where I met Brian and the rest of the DZ crew. And because I had interviewed Ben Shapiro and a couple other notable conservatives, because I actually had a career in kind of conservative journalism, Owen and some of the Bears were interested in me, helping to kind of build the community. And so but out of everyone in that Discord, I would say I got the closest to Johnny, and then also to the guy who roasted Eric Nimmer, who's also a Christian. And so once that whole beef between Nimmer and the other guy, basically because I took the side of the DZ, then I also became the enemy. So
that's perfect. I mean, that's like just the way you stated it, and even just saying the other guy, it's like, yeah, we don't really even need details on that. That's all the texture. Like, people can find the videos if they want. And I think that's the way to think about the audience, is like, people like doing a little bit amount of work. It's like you're almost presenting like an Easter egg hunt to them, It's like, and it's there if you want to find it, and they really, I think they really appreciate not being pandered to, yeah. So that's awesome. That's great. And now I maybe this isn't a good word to use, but like almost like an advocate. I mean, it's like you've been there when Nightwave needed you, or when Royce, or I'm not sure who else has come along. I know that people dipped into this issue, like the Ralph retort kind of dipped into this a little bit. Porcelain.
Ralph retort played my videos. The quartering got into it. I mean, it's gotten over 1 million views on the quartering, I'm pretty sure.
But I mean, as far as journalists go, I was one of the first ones to interview, Johnny here, and and also because I was part of the Unbearables, like, I've also had a front row seat to all of this. But at the same time, like, I'm not exclusively focused on, and I do other journalistic things too. And that's the other point, is like, I'm approaching this from a journalistic approach too.
Right.
So.
And Sam, if there's any challenge I'd press on you, it's like, I would love it if you could obviously help us kind of, like, keep me on track, keep Johnny on track. Don't be afraid to kind of, just remember.
Right.
It's like, well, let's talk about this first before we get to that, and then also maybe if you like, I know this is kind of a big task, but just any of these key points, if you can help me out with the more detail oriented, just basic of like, oh, I have the date for that. Here's the, just like pull up, like, that video was December 2016. That would really, because it'd be like boom, boom, boom. It's like just planting so many flags that it's just, and I don't think there will be people really denying. I don't think there'll be like the Bears are going to come in force, because so much of this stuff is undeniable that what he's done is he's built a hero's myth for himself. And part of it is that he has to perpetuate it. He has to perpetuate it on a daily basis.
I will say
that's part of the problem for him, bro. He's trapped in a corner by these lies.
He's running out of gas.
And he has nowhere to go with it. He just has to ban people, and he has to come up with new reasons to people, but he has to try to recruit new people. And then he's got, you piss off the internet, bro, they're going to come after you. I mean, period. And there's no stopping it at this point. There's no stopping it. The feedback loop he's got going is just, it's unstoppable. Wait till he starts getting people's junk drawer in his fucking, in his mail.
Sam, what were you going to say?
I will say that they might not come on your stream initially, but also, Jesse, just be warned, because afterwards, they probably will start showing up on your channel and showing up on your Twitter feed and trying to spam you and call you. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been like attacked, by like many internet groups, but believe me, they'll. This is my other point that always pisses people off, or the Bears, I should say, is in my opinion, Owen is no better than a leftist SJW, and that's exactly what he is. He's a leftist. So
I think my biggest point, like I said earlier, was I had nothing to do with these fucking gummies, bro. I mean, absolutely nothing. My name came out of nowhere. And, people are like, well, you sent the gummies, so you deserve it. It's like, and people said that people were talking about it. It's like, he should be worried. It's like, no. He got a fucking random email from some crazy fan that said some random people were doing this shit. And they, it's like, you didn't vet that. He got that email 3 months or so before he spelled my name. He had plenty of fucking time to know his friends ate that shit. Eric Nimmer and Aaron Hartling, who he booted from the Bears, they both ate those fucking gummies.
Right.
That had been his desk. So, I mean, he had time to this shit, and he knew they weren't poison.
I want to write that down because that's going to, because like I said, that's I
mean, it came out of fucking thin air, bro.
You said Nimmer ate the worms? Or the dicks, rather?
Yeah, Nimmer and Artling.
Oh, Artling. Right, and Artling turned on him. Okay.
Yeah.
Artling turned on him because of the whole moon.
Yeah. So that's not gonna be as ideal.
Funny.
Nimmer ate the dicks. Artling ate the dicks. I just put that down.
I have screenshots of him admitting to eating them as well.
Oh, so. I need that. Yeah, I need that. Yep.
I have him also saying, "Thank you for going after Owen to me."
This is all in your Discord?
Yes, it's not all that's in that room, but I'll get it there.
Just try to get your ducks in a row because I want to. Just as you're talking, I'll probably be clicking around, just changing the window, and that'll just really nail it. Like I hate to say this, but like the Pavlov thing is really powerful while a person's talking, and then like the actual things on the screen, it's like, just nail in the coffin type thing.
Yep.
And it's not like this has to be all chronological order or anything. And I think at this point the challenge is going to be overloading them with too much, but I'm not too worried about it.
I agree. I mean, that's kind of why I wanted to do this first with you so we could have our talking points, because that's one thing I know for certain is you overload people with too many details and they shut down.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially what people are going to be interested in the backstory. I think the chat's going to be asking a lot of questions.
Oh, the chat absolutely
on the way.
And we've got a nice group of regulars, and they're for the most part pretty intelligent people who can't stand the narcissism. And so even when the randoms come in, and it doesn't really matter because it's like, people are like, okay, whatever. Yeah. So here's
told the story so many times, but I think it'll flow fine. And
yeah, I think just be aware when it gets meandering, and then we'll just try to come back to the tree trunk. It's like, just think of it like a tree with branches. We're going to stick to the tree trunk. Each branch, each twig is going to hopefully be supporting the overall point. I have the first thing we did, just overall themes, is Messiah complex versus naive, or Messiah complex versus fake, and then we get into we drive into the details of that. Obviously, we just talked about. I put my own observations, just kind of about how he incorporates things, and then behind the scenes of Owen. I think that's going to be a big part of it. It's like, I think that'll be a really fresh part to this presentation, and that's where the screenshots are really going to help, is just breaking that brainwashing that people have, that this is a guy in front of his camera just authentically coming off the cuff, because I swear to God, what he does, it's like Carlos Mencia sitting in the back of the room and listening to somebody else saying, "Oh, I can do that better." And because of my celebrity status, who the fuck cares about the guy who already said it? And he knows that about himself, and he knows that there's no integrity in that. And I think he's kind of cornering himself on that aspect of it. And all these people who are getting behind that are just total scum, just clingers. I probably don't want to get into that type of language in my own sort of judgment about it, but that's how I feel about it. So anytime where you can kind of show the behind the scenes, like like Owen is just like this theme park, like look behind the curtain. That's
another with that too. Though, another point I kind of want to make is like, here's the thing, dude. Like, I never gave a fuck about Owen's comedy. I was interested in his trans kid rants. Okay, my girlfriend at the time had a daughter who was dating a trans kid, so it hit home to me.
Oh, okay. Hold on, let me.
I didn't. Yeah.
Let me see. I'm gonna put this closer to the top.
Yeah. Well.
Okay.
Well, and that
got that.
Yeah.
Save that for the show, because because whatever surprise, like whatever we discover in that whole can of worms, like I think that's going to be really good about people learning about you, and that you're not just one dimensional,
Yeah, that's not what I want to talk about, though.
Yeah.
We can talk about, but that's leading into something completely different.
Right.
And what I'm saying, point I'm making is, I don't give a fuck about Owen. What I gave about was the people I was surrounded by when I met them on Twitter.
Right.
Yeah, the community. That was the same thing. Like I had mentioned.
Sam, hold on.
Yeah.
So when I met all these people, I became good friends with them. And it was not really huge about Owen, but everybody was into Owen. So anyways, my point here is I was a large part of the community because I had a show. And I was going to do a show with Nimmer. When the Nimmer stuff came out, I made it a point to everybody in the danger zone that it's not about Owen. It had nothing to do with Owen. We were not going after Owen. We were going after Nimmer. Period. And the way that Owen got dragged into the whole mess was the comment on his Vimeo. When I commented on his Vimeo, Eric Special put a comment, he harasses women at shows, don't support this guy. That comment forced Owen to go live on stream and address us and say, "I'll sue you, bitch." So that is how we got brought into this.
And that kind of,
that
shows a little bit of an insecurity, doesn't it? I mean, that's like, there's got to be a little bit of truth in there somewhere.
Yeah. So, dude, here's the thing, bro. That at the show, dude, I have fucking pictures of the shit. I have the guys, I have their own screenshots of them harassing and then threatening her to shut up afterwards. I have all of this. The point is,
I've lost you. Walk it back.
Yeah, you're right.
The point is I had Nimmer on several points, and I brought them all to the forefront. And I said, listen, you don't have to do anything but be honest about this shit. And he couldn't do it. He called me a liar. And again, that's when I went after him.
Okay, this is perfect because Owen puffed up his chest on all this. Like Owen created a false narrative for Nimmer, and everybody knows it. So you have the real backstory on Nimmer that he never told, and there's no counterpoint to that.
Right.
No. So essentially, he went on there and he had to shut us up when I came out against him, and it was the point at which, again, I said we commented on his Vimeo.
Think about what he does. His wizardry is instead of saying, yeah, I should have listened to you guys about Eric Nimmer, which he'll kind of say, what he does is he goes, my best friend lied to me. He said he had cancer. He wanted help, whatever. Like, it's always that. It's always, and you can tell he's not really playing victim. He's just doing entertainment victim shit. Just like, he's trying to create value. Yeah.
He said on his stream the day that he outed Nimmer, he goes, well, the one good thing all of this is I know the people who found this out about him are real pieces of shit.
Right.
So it's like he cannot. The things that Coddington and Base Texan did to us, he cannot come out and say these people are good, because it basically frames all of his moderators and all of his bears and all the things they've done to us. It brings that all to the forefront.
Right.
I mean, dude, this is between you and me. I don't bring this up in public because I don't have a way to 100% verify it. So do not bring this up on stream. But my girlfriend at the time, when Owen went on,
you might just not tell me. Just don't tell me. I'd rather you not tell me. If that's cool, because I don't like elephant in the room stuff. Like, don't think of the elephant kind of thing.
Gotcha.
So if I was going to play devil's advocate right now, and not that I would want to, I would say, the only silver lining here is, maybe these people are just so brainwashed that they actually are on the good side. The stakes are so high, like Donald Trump presidency, and the liberals are so evil. They basically started this mentality of the ends justify the means. Like, clearly at some point, these people got on board with the ends justify the means. Whatever that means to them.
What that means to me, that's one of the main points of a cult.
Yeah.
That's one of the main points of a cult, justifying the means. There being no accountability with the money. The leader has no accountability to a higher group. It's a fucking nobody but Owen at this point.
Bandwagon. Yeah.
The follower, he has admitted himself that people were covering up the Nimmer stuff to try to help him. So, I mean, when you have people doing that, try to benefit you, covering lies, try to help you, you have a huge problem. And I mean, that comes to the forefront when you hire your fans to do your shit for you. You can't pay Coddington and expect him to stay honest when he's your fan. He's not a fucking agent. He's not an actual web guy. He's not a YouTube guru. He's none of that shit. He's a fan.
Mm-hmm.
That's all he is. Delev, same thing. Just a fan. I watched Delev cut out another woman in Israel from the whole deal because she wanted to help promote a tour for Owen and Delev.
That's a really good point. Slow down. Just slow down for me. Slow down because of the cutting out part. Okay. You watched Delev do what?
So I watched Delev cut another bear out named Deanie, who was also in Israel. And she wanted to help promote a tour for Owen and set it up. And Delev would not let that one anywhere near Owen to do it because Delev was already doing it. Now, as you could see it, she never set it up. But, I mean, she was cutting people out like that, left and right. Coddington as well. So
in other words, Delev and Coddington have special access to Owen, and they can kind of create a class system based on, and for the most part, what they're doing is they're just trying to play keep away.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Somebody near Owen, truth gets to Owen, and we're all fucked. Yep.
I think
Delev's gone now. I mean,
yeah. And who knows? Some of these people might turn on him. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing because they sound like such shitty people. I think I'll put that as another major point because the more you flesh it out, it's like coming from another angle that Owen hired his fans. Like, think about that. This isn't somebody who had really good friends from childhood. This isn't somebody who found some third party. These are people who are coming to his show. These really loyal fangirls who would do, very good point. That's where he's
It's
coming
a-
from.
it's-
He's coming from that kind of love bombing, or like that. Who feeds into my image the most? Like, who reflects back at me what I want to hear about myself? And that's the inner sanctum where the decisions are being made.
I like to relate Owen to like a teenage boy that's gotten his first wave of popularity. And he's like, oh, I get to be the cool guy, or second like wave of like good friends in life or something, like, or he's just growing up. But he hires his fans, and yeah, I mean, you can't do that. You can't expect anybody that works for you, number one, to have your best interest in mind unless you're paying them to have your best interest in mind. And those people were not fucking being paid enough not to care. Also, again, when you have a fan instantly get access to you suddenly, and they don't want to lose that, they'll do anything to retain that.
Yeah, it's all based on approval. It's all based on like. It's not based on respect. There's no mutual respect here. It's
No.
do they still like me?
Right. Right. And again, I mean, John, in my stream, he put on dog tags, and I said to him, I go, what do those dog tags say, John? He goes, they say Nimmer's mother. And he called Nimmer out on all this shit. And Delev messaged me, and she's like, what is John trying to pull? Why is he trying to get leverage off of Nimmer and propel himself, whatever, forward? So that's what always happened. Nimmer's lying about a bunch of shit, and he's a piece of shit. And Nimmer went on stream after John basically roasted him on my stream. He went on his own stream. John and Delev had spoken, and I had that full conversation. And they apologized to each other by the end of the conversation. And basically what it was Delev going, what are you fucking trying to pull? And he goes, don't fucking talk to me like that. Or what's this fucking tone with me? And by the end, she's like, I'm sorry. He's like, I'm sorry as well. It's over. It's over. Well, the next day, Nimmer goes on stream and just shits all over John, says he's crazy. He doesn't give a fuck. He'll make John another fucking ribbon. He's got medals for this shit. Saying he's not invited to a show that he was supposed to work merchandise booth at. Just all this shit saying that John harasses women. Again, this is all not true. So
yeah, the more you talk, the more I realize that Owen's relationship with Steven Crowder broke down because of the Nimmer stuff, clearly, and he can't clearly he can't face that. He can't see. So even though he hints around about it, he'll keep coming back around to the false narrative that he built. Like he's such a fragile snowflake. He's so insecure.
Well, one thing
on some time to chat with him about how he contacted Crowder, because that's what happened. Chuck went and contacted Crowder's dad.
Right. Yeah, he told me that.
Long before. Yeah, so I don't know if you've spoken to him about it or not, but yeah, dude, they were in contact with Crowder. Crowder knew before he put him on the show.
Right. And clearly what Crowder's main problem is that Owen is a loose cannon, and he has no respect for interpersonal relationships among Crowder's crew. He'll get on stream and just blast like he does, and then now he's not even bringing up the Nimmer thing that right. Steven would have gone down with Owen over the Nimmer thing before anybody cared about the moon. So now all he mentions is the moon.
Would let him go down too.
He's like, oh well, Steven Crowder's not going to say shit, so I can just go with the false narrative that I created. So,
Yep. Well, Crowder did say something before, which was fucking super surprising to me. Super surprising to me. But I think that they all see, like, people have covered the poison gummies to a large extent, bring it up a lot because people think that I'm just crying and bitching and moaning. But personally, I'm fine, dude. I mean, my life is fine. I'm good. But you could kind of compare me to a fucking rape victim, and I don't want somebody else to have it happen to them. Mm-hmm. And with him in his mind having the ability to say, well, I just believe this with no proof, and I'm going to wildly go say this shit on stream, right? And then to my fans, I'm going to say he's going to end up with him dead or in prison. And when I say kill them all, do it. And you're going to say that kind of shit to your fans. And then you go into wild fucking rants about I'm buying guns and fucking splatter people's faces and all, I just killed a pig and that makes me like, if I had to kill a human, it'd be fine. Like now he's going into all this shit. And like, it just, man, if he's willing to not investigate stupid poison gummies and try to fucking ruin my life over the shit. I mean, he literally spelled my name, tried to fucking ruin my life. So if he's willing to do that, what's he willing to do to somebody he assumes is an intruder's property accidentally? He's not making any rational. He had 3 months to figure this shit out in his brain. But rather than have the Nimmer shit come out and have to address that himself, he'd rather fuck my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I again, dude, I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen to anybody else. I mean, I'm fine. Why? I'm totally willing to show my face. Shit, I don't care. Nobody's coming for me.
Have you guys contacted Harrison Smith of InfoWars? Has he ever been interested in this?
I haven't contacted him, dude. My Twitter's dead.
Okay.
The Bears killed that shit.
I tried to, but I
think he's more interested in the Nightwave thing.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, or the art.
Well, you don't know. I mean, the more he's on Owen's shit list, you never know.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like, I didn't have any followers to begin with, right? Till ROTC said, go follow this guy. And Davey said, go follow this guy. And Uni said, go follow this guy. But now that I do have followers, people might start actually taking notice. And again, like, the people that follow me are like, I know Uni follows me. I know the Ralph Retort follows me. Quartering follows me. A lot of people follow me. But people don't want to touch this shit. They're afraid to touch this topic.
No, I think the tone you're using is perfect, and then we'll just do our best to balance you out, Johnny. And I think Sam, a note for us is just we'll try not to over qualify ourselves, because I think people like they're suspicious, they're paranoid of people who qualify themselves too much. So I think where you would qualify, just show your values. Just do your best to show perfect, like you saying that how you came across this and how you lost all these people to the Never Trumpers. That's perfect. You're just giving texture, you're giving details, you're showing your values. Just normal guys. You care about the fact that you care about the trans issue. It wasn't that you were going to comedy shows. It's not, here's this guy who's trying to leech off his fame. Here's somebody who was left in the wayside. And everybody knows, ultimately, that from night to night, Owen is just teasing people based on the topics they want to hear, So like, oh, you know what, guys? I think California was a direct energy weapon. It's just like, all he's doing, he's got a focus group, people emailing him. And he says, "Oh, here's what I'll tease them about next week," and that's what he's doing with Flat Earth. Is he just knows how? I mean, look at that. That show was like fucking 7,000 people, and those people, they're eating it up. And then, is there any question why he does it? There's, and even that he fucked up. He even fucked that up with the whole Eric Dubé thing. How do you fuck that up? All he had to do is talk about it.
He's really lucky that Dubé has a lot of people that dislike him versus the other flat earthers. But I tell you, I know from watching Unirock that the other flat earthers are not well liked.
Yeah, just don't even get into that aspect, because it's just a total opposite side of things.
I thought I just funny, but he's just For views, man. He is going for views. He says he doesn't care about expanding his audience, doesn't care about money.
Yeah,
Really,
right. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You know what? You know the clip that I wish that I need to get. I need to get the clip where he's opening up envelopes, and he says, "You know what this means, guys? This means the good guys win." And he's like,
yeah,
and he's not even talking about like versus the leftist or Ben Shapiro or Jordan Peterson anymore. He's talking about versus Savanier, and it's like that just shows you how fragile his ego is. It's just like,
yeah.
even Savanier becomes Osama bin Laden, but it's just a lighthearted joke about a guy showing up to a party. He's
Right. Like he says the good guys, but who the fuck else is on his side at this point? I really can't tell you who wants to think.
He's creating that the bandwagon effect is creating more low information viewers every day. And one thing that's happening is that because of video live streaming, people are getting conditioned not to communicate in the traditional ways. They're not emailing each other. They're not texting, especially not calling each other. So you show up in a stream, and the communication becomes even more superficial. People aren't actually researching for themselves. They're not time stamping people's videos and saying, "Let me fact check that." So Owen is a new model. Like, you have to think of this as like, this is what the future looks like. This is what a dystopian future looks like, is somebody who he stood in front of a crowd, both as a musician and as a stand-up comic, with a tuned instrument of his own body, reflexively adapting to the crowd. Now he's taking that weapon in front of a camera, and we're all fucked, in different ways.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's just him. I think there are many personality types who just can't call themselves out on their own bullshit, especially when he's actually convincing himself that he can affect change, that he's the hero, that his idea for that day is either going to stop the new world order or this. But he'll stop and he'll call himself out when he's motivated by money. When he lost $50,000, like, he's like, money's bullshit. Who cares? I mean, it did take, like, he actually will admit that he sits and thinks around, he thinks about making money. And so he's always mixing those two extremes, his hero complex and money.
Yep.
You can't do that. I mean, you just can't.
Yeah.
Nobody can balance that temptation.
No, I mean, I've never seen anybody contradict themselves more than, I mean, he will do it within 20 seconds of himself constantly. Like, he'll say one thing and then say the complete opposite. It's insane. It's insane to me.
It's like brain. It's almost like brain partitions. It's like when you look at a story through a particular lens or filter, and you're like, well, yeah, you know what? You do have to give it up for the Jews. And it's just each live stream, his perspective changes so drastically, and you're like, there are people sitting in their homes who were like polishing their rifles, and now they're like, yeah, you're right. It's just like, this is crazy. It's like,
well,
that's the narcissism.
And I don't know if you want to go over this on stream at all or not, but the shooting that happened today, did you see the manifesto?
No, I was told about it a little bit by Matthew North. Are you guys familiar with Matthew North?
No. It had Owen references in it, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, well, that makes sense. Like, I don't believe in any of those. I mean, like, I hate to say like nobody should say every synagogue shooting is fake. But
no.
I looked at this one, and like the ADL was involved within like the first hour. Like, the ADL is already cracking down on it. So Owen Benjamin's in it. Let me look.
He's not. He's not in it.
Mm-hmm.
The references are very odd. Let me see if I can.
I have that screenshot. I can.
Yeah,
I got an article from NBC San Diego. I'd be careful saying anything to the effect of like, Owen is inspiring violence, but clearly, like, they will create a fucking patsy. Okay.
Well,
here's the thing. So with all his craziness and shit going on lately, right? Because, dude, I totally believe in false flags. Again, dude, I did a Vegas channel that was a big Vegas channel for like 6 months. Until all this happened, and I shut everything down. But
wow,
I almost have to wonder if somebody's trying to take Owen down specifically and using him to hit the right wing on this.
Oh, this is crazy. This is awesome. This is perfect. This is like
I have
perfect for opening the show. This is like the thing that keeps people on the hook. That's like, what the hell? Or it depends, because these questions are too powerful. People are going to want to know more about it. That's insane. I'm just a normal dude who wanted to have a family, play piano, poking the bear.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
I'm putting the full manifesto in here for you because I know they're wiping it offline on certain spots. I know it's archived, but there it is. And you can read through it. And a lot of the points, man, just you can see a lot of it's crazy. It's crazy.
See, this is what people never understand. It's not that it's like one person on YouTube. What they'll do is they'll play games. They'll have a ballet that they play between YouTube and the mainstream, and they just try to get anything to stick. Yeah, what were you going to say, Sam? I'm sorry.
Well, Jesse, as far as, saying that Owen, I mean, I just did a stream tonight where I basically said that, well, I don't believe that Owen was directly responsible for this. I said that the type of rhetoric that he's been spouting off about the Jews and about killing people on his streams and whatnot.
Right.
I did say tonight that type of rhetoric that he's been spouting and that the alt-right has been spouting for years and years and years now is, what's influencing these weak-minded people to go out and cause these shootings. So
it's whatever you do on your own platform. I would say
right.
I think what I would say is something to the effect of something like whether it's the right and left dialectic or whether it's they're playing to the extremes. Anything that's too pointed, it's going to be capitalized, and whether the event is real or staged, we have to be aware of anything that they're trying. Here's the real concern. The real concern is that everybody's trying to create this public record, and clearly there's way too many false public records, and they're insistent on getting their false record to stick. So what's happening is they will take influences clearly. Yeah. So I think Owen just offering things up on a stick is a major concern. And
right.
What's interesting about that is when I first came across Eric Dubé, I said, let's not debate this or talk about this, but I said, here's what this is. This is like a CIA MK Ultra victim sitting in front of a camera reading a fucking script. It's like there was Michael Aquino was actually around at the time. He was like the top 2 Satanists in U.S. history, and he was trying to get narratives to stick that it's not the Talmud, it's the Zionists, and there's like all these like basically chaos magicians just trying to pin the tail on one faction or another. People don't realize that, like how subtle it can be. I've seen people come in and weaponize certain phrases. Like, instead of people talking about the Jews, they'll try to get people to talk about the Chabad Mafia or, like people debating Jews or Zionists is one example. There will be psyops just geared at basically leading people to one phrase. They need like a banner to wave. And so seeing those talking points in this synagogue shooting, there will inevitably be people who accuse us of being one side of the debate, and that's fine. But I think because those will be the low information people, it's like even just presenting information, sometimes you're putting a target on your head, and they say, "Oh, I get it; they're part of it." So that's where I would encourage you to just tread lightly, because there are like a lot of these really intelligent people. That's the game that they're playing, is they're looking for the people who are getting the talking points to stick. So just tread lightly saying that Owen is inspiring violence. I think the Gummy Dick's perfect example where he's being flagrant, and then if there are questions to his character and questions to whether he's, he could be an MK Ultra victim, or he could just be an idiot. He could just be a fame whore. Clearly his talking point, like there's nobody in the lighthouse of his own team. There's nobody who's going to say, "Hey, wait a minute. They're trying to paint us into a corner. using like here's basically what we're looking at is they're taking, instead of watching a sitcom, instead of watching Full House, people are watching the Owen Benjamin show, and then you've got people over here trying all this shit, taking advantage of that. And that's kind of how as far as I'm comfortable going, tying, you know, Owen to that. But
yeah, and I'm not, and look, I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying that he's, you know, directly responsible. I'm just saying that this type of rhetoric on all sides is dangerous. So, and you know, basically, my role on this show will be just to take your lead and to take Johnny's lead. You know, the only thing I really want to bring up is that, look, I had an audience before, because I mean, the one thing that people think with me is that, like, oh, I'm just another guy who joined it because, you know, because I want to, you know, hate on Owen. And it's like, no. I've had an audience for years and years and years before Owen even entered my conscience. I'm just here because I want to help tell Johnny's story of what happened. And because I have no idea how Owen even got into the conservative lexicon. So,
yeah, and we'll talk about that more. I mean, there's so many different points. I basically like I think the thing to look at there is high stakes. This vacuum, like basically this vacuum formed, and what everybody wanted was a whistleblower. And the truth community that I'm used to is one where people said, I don't trust any celebrities. Then suddenly everybody was spiritually exhausted, and they were too fucking lazy, and they just wanted to sit back and watch. And suddenly a celebrity comes along, and every night people are just sitting and listening to the thing that everybody said they hated. And so Owen somehow slipped under everybody's radar, where even his competition, like David Weiss or Jaronism, you know, all these people who are trying to seek him out for his like street cred, the premise doesn't make any fucking sense, because it all hinges on the fact that he was kicked out of Hollywood, and even that Vox Day and Owen have had to walk back. Like they're like, well, you know, well, like you can be kicked out of Hollywood and leave Hollywood. You can do both.
right, which is kind of like, okay, that's not the narrative
that's his brain.
You were going, yeah.
Well, here's one thing I've learned about following and knowing what I know is basically almost everything that he says is the opposite of what actually happened. I mean, literally every fucking thing.
No, he knows, like a stand-up comedian knows how to lean in the opposite direction and tell an interesting, you know, that's all he's doing. He's had years of reflexively adapting to things like hecklers and the energy of an audience. He's had years to adapt this muscle. So
yeah,
it's like we kind of have to be, the way to think about this is we have to think of, we're like the director's commentary on the DVD. That's the way we have to think about this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, for me, the part of the reason I'm going after him too is because, I mean, nobody else, Mersch is good at going after him, but he won't cover him all the time. And you know, I fear the guy 0%, and I fear his fans 0%. But I tell you, there's a lot of people he shut down by doing this sort of thing. Aaron's in fucking hiding. Artling, his name's Aaron. But dude, he's
Is it
hiding,
okay that we mention? Oh, Artling, yeah, the artist, right?
Yeah.
Really? Just over the moon shit? Like, because that's not a very harsh accusation. But he just doesn't like the tension on Twitter. He doesn't like the 20 people tweeting at him kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you have Owen go on stream and say your name,
right,
and then people that you're a piece of shit and you're a pussy and you know things like that. I mean, he's got a new little baby. He's got a wife.
Right.
He's got a religion to uphold. His name is his art, and absolutely on that. So, how many people has he done that to that that he's punching down at, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
just to save, and again, I want to make this point. When Artling left, that was the same time that he came out and said, "I ate the." So I don't know what happened because, dude, I haven't spoken to Artling personally. Everybody else in the DZ talks to him, but he that I don't know what went on behind the scenes between him and Owen when that happened. Like he might have gone, "Hey, when I ate the fucking gummies, bro, you can't say that shit."
Is Artling Jewish, or
Announced it.
what's his? I mean, he's just like a he's the artist, right? He came up with some of Owen's art.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And what's funny is actually like the Twitter bird where Owen's biting the head off the Twitter bird, that Artling drew, the one where the guy's rising out of the fire to the bears or whatever. Like, dude, those were all the DZ's ideas. Those were my ideas for him to draw. And he sat there on stream and drew them for us. And Artling was a part of the DZ until the Nimmer shit. And Artling took the money. He took the fame. He said, "You know what? I'm going with Owen. I'm not going to ruffle any feathers on this. I'm out. I'm going with Owen." And soon enough, he discovered what a piece of shit Owen was. And again, at the same time he outed that he ate the gummies, that's when Owen was like, "Fuck him. He's out. You know, he's a piece of shit. He's a puss." Came out and went out on him on stream publicly so that nobody would listen to him about the gummies, is my assumption, because he didn't have any real reason to go against Artling for saying, "Hey, I'm out. I disagree with you on the moon and how you're treating people."
Right.
But I think that part of that, how you're treating people, was you can't fucking go on stream and say this guy tried to murder your kids when I ate the gummies. I don't want to be in the middle of this shit, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's what I think happened.
He's been on Twitter at least in the he's last week. He's on Twitter. It'd be interesting if I just try to email him and see if he even responds. But he's reposting like Dave Rubin and a lot of Tim Pool, Sargon, Sticks and Hammer.
Yeah. I haven't talked to Artling at all. Like the last time I talked to Artling, it was actually weird because Artling had me blocked on Facebook, on my personal Facebook, for a while, and then like in basically after he got kicked out of Owen's inner circle, Aaron just unblocked me on Facebook and then sent me a message, saying, "Hey, I hope you're doing well." I was kind of like, well, that's kind of weird that he unblocked me, and then that was when I found out after the fact that he had been kicked out of Owen's inner circle. So
I think sometimes people just don't know how to parse through who's who, and they just get overwhelmed.
Right.
And I do think that's part of Owen's story, but nobody cares at this point because he's played it so poorly. It's like,
right,
when there's so many people coming at you and there's so many factions, you lump people together.
And we don't.
Yeah.
And I don't think we really need to bring up that part of the Artling story. That's just kind of behind the scenes for you. I mean, unless Johnny wants to bring it up, but.
At this point,
I'm just kind of giving Jesse more behind the scenes because there's so much to this story that once you hear the whole I mean, it takes so long to actually tell the story because there's so fucking much involved. I mean, this was a year, dude, of back and forth.
Is her name is Broughton or Brighton? Is that right? Is that the right Delev?
Yeah,
Broughton.
Okay. Well, right now, what I'm worried about is just kind of overwhelming my short-term memory. I think we've got too much to go on. Just try to keep it fresh. Don't try to, if anything, I think you'll do just fine. And I'll kind of try to look at my notes some more, and I'll probably shuffle some things around. But overall, Sam, just have Johnny's back, and you guys just play off each other like a soundboard if some of the details are coming in kind of hazy, and I think it'll be great. We should do like a Google Hangouts technical test and just be sure everything comes in clear. Johnny, tonight were you on a cell phone or sitting at a computer?
I'm on my cell phone.
Do you have something more hardwired?
No, I don't. I was walking around my backyard with my dog though, so I
okay. Yeah.
Closer to stuff.
If you could,
Yeah.
just something more, just a more stable thing, we should be fine. Okay, and then that's all I'm worried about is the technical aspect of it. I am torn about this fucking synagogue shooting, and so I mean they could community strike me for just the video that I put up today. Hopefully that won't happen. But
I wasn't saying bring it up or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you can. There might be more information out on it tomorrow. I don't know when you want to do the stream.
That'll definitely, like that part where they're using the Owen language. I think we definitely have to at least tease with that shit. I don't know if we want to open with it or put it somewhere near the middle because people are gonna be like, wait, what? Like, and it's like this is why you need to pay attention, people. Like, pay close attention. Don't sit there with your remote control in your hand, because this is a whole new ball game. I mean, this is, in my opinion, Fahrenheit 451. It's like people were all about. They were sitting. They were in the lighthouse. They were watching for ships in the fog, and now they're just fucking sitting around watching Owen Benjamin. Just fucking terrible.
Yeah,
I think it's an important point to make too that Owen, his whole life, has always been a liberal until the Trump election. It's a very, very important point to make in the whole deal. He voted for Obama. I mean, he used to be for abortions. He used to be for gay marriage. He was a fucking liberal. He was taught by a tranny piano teacher who we know Larry, by the way. If you ever want to talk to Larry, I think he comes on your streams.
Really?
Larry Rapshot. Yeah, he does actually. I've talked. Yeah, he was on last night after I called.
I'm sure he'd be more than happy to chat with you too.
Larry was in my chat. Larry was like typing in my chat.
I'm pretty sure he's chat.
I think so.
Okay. That's crazy. We'll double check on that.
Anyhow, so his dad was, a professor. He was raised in a house of professors who are, liberals, and his mother she was a feminist who wrote a feminist book. He's always been a liberal. Hollywood, this, that, and the other, till again the Trump election. And I think that he saw Crowder.
That's exactly
Crowder's money.
That's exactly what I told Lift the Veil. Like this was way fucking long ago on Twitch. I said, I don't know what the fuck's going on, because there's this whole weird limo crash thing too that seems Masonic as hell. Yeah. And Nathan was like, what do you think? And I was like, I think they're trying to model this guy after Steven Crowder. He sees how big Crowder is, and it's just obvious that Hollywood is dying, and the way to build a brand for yourself is to take after what Steven is. But it's obvious that Steven is going too soft and he's pandering to the boomers. So you go punk rock. And that's what Owen tried to do. He's like, I'm going to be Steven Crowder, but punk rock. And he even, like the way that he cusses and says nigger, all that stuff, or yells cunt at women. It's so obvious that he's just trying to be the punk rock version of Steven Crowder. And then,
what's funny is, the whole thing about that nigger stole my bike and the word nigger is I actually see the clip of him, and I can direct you to the stream where he actually writes that song with us. And he sings the N-word, and then he goes, guys, I can't, our song can't be that nigger stole my bike. I can't defend that. That's too much for me to defend. And then by the end of the stream, it was like, that nigger stole my bike. It was like all about it. He saw the reaction that it got.
He's just
and he fucked with it.
And then that narrative falls apart as soon as Eric Nimmer is a fraud, because he used Nimmer to, like, look, my best friend. And it's like, look, guys, he's being too sensitive. It's just
right. He produced Nimmer as a 4-tour veteran with 9 confirmed kills. That's how he introduced him to everybody.
Yeah.
That was the first fucking thing he said about Nimmer. And later in the sentence, Nimmer said to him, I got 23 kills. So how Owen had to fucking know Nimmer was lying. There's no way, unless he just is such a drunk and an idiot that he didn't put 2 and 2 together on the numbers. But like, how you can believe somebody did 4 tours, has 5 college degrees, went to seminary school, and they're 27 years old, dude. It's insane. All it took for us to figure it
certain
out
personality
that he green
types.
was a Google search.
Certain personality types get under his radar because he's so insecure. But
Well, I think too, part of it was, he's the kind of guy, and he said, anybody Nimmer is like, you got to get through me. Fuck you, fuck you. So he knew Nimmer was good for his brand because he had a black guy opening up for him.
who's nowhere near as funny. Makes him look good.
and makes him look good. He was in the military supposedly, so he gets that out of the fans. Everybody seemed to like Nimmer because he was a fast talker. Well, he's a fast talker because he's a fucking liar.
Yeah, how many of many of the vets actually stuck around after the Nimmer thing? I doubt not many.
Oh, a
No,
lot
dude,
of
there's
them.
that.
A lot of them did.
Remember the vet that lost his legs and he sent Owen the $50 super chat?
Yeah,
That guy's still around. I mean, he fooled people by saying, I didn't fucking know, and I was the last person to fucking know. He fooled them, dude. He fooled them. There's a lot of vets, dude, that are showing up in my comments now on the commentary I'm doing on Nimmer, and they're like, holy fuck, dude. You fuck Owen. Like when you look at the story, when we started because we knew he didn't have fucking cancer. We knew he didn't go to the military. We knew all this shit. So when they started going, he's got cancer and you guys can't make fun of him because they're gonna cut off his VA benefits. It's like, dude, that doesn't fucking happen over an internet fight, guys. That doesn't. And it's every time we'd say something about Nimmer, every time I'd confront him about his lies again, cancer would come up. And he showed no signs of cancer. No, none of it. $3,500 for it's just every fucking lie was just like piling up. I just can't understand how Owen didn't see it unless he had some sort of cognitive dissonance going on because he was so fucking mad at us for going at Nimmer. He's like, fuck those guys. And in his brain,
he has blind rage. He definitely has blind rage.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, he didn't want his opener to be attacked by us.
Yeah.
Especially not publicly. And he's still got a fucking grudge on me. And I still think, because of the things that his mods have told him, still think that maybe I didn't send him anything. Maybe none of that happened, but he does think that we threatened to poison his kid. So that's the one worry I have in the situation is, like, if you have a guy who genuinely thinks that you said something like that about his family, you're never going to get an apology or a retraction on him outing the name. But,
okay,
it is what it is. These people fucking hate us, bro.
Yeah, let's break for now. I think the point that I want to leave you guys with is that all the details are great as long as you can get like Johnny. I don't think you'll have a problem retelling any of this stuff because you have just the perfect tone. But just keep in mind that behind the scenes aspect, like we're gonna lift the curtain in the theme park, and that'll be that's. I mean, we have so many different themes here. Like just looking at the themes I have can launch us into any different territory. So this is perfect. I mean,
you could do a week of shows on this shit. I mean, there's so much to unpack, but
that's a good idea too. Like a good idea might be to just have a part one and not even worry about, you know what I mean? It's just like not even put the pressure on us that we have to get through it. Just say we're gonna start and
then do a follow-up show for questions that may show up in chat or
especially it's like putting them in the corner of like, okay, what, we're opening it up. The Bears can call in,
dude, I would fucking love to talk to Coddington, bro. I would love for one of those guys to call in And you know,
Oh yeah, and you know, realize that there's an extra element here because
you know,
he's never addressed my point that he's plagiarized me. So there's like a whole other a whole other layer to it where it
those
just makes it
guys
more
have,
complex.
you know, when Porcelain was doing the documentary, he was working with the DZ deeply. I mean, Lissa, Christy, the girls in the DZ. Hey, all those. There's a lot of really, really, really smart people in the DZ. Uh, really fucking smart people, and they were working with Porcelain. So, um, where was I going with this? I totally.
I just wouldn't worry about it. I think we're kind of mentally exhausting ourselves at this point. Just
Hey,
really just bear hug that the behind the scenes thing of it, and then it like almost like the timeline doesn't even matter. It's just we'll be hitting all the different points, and it's like walking through an amusement park, man. I think people will really be into it. So just hang on to that.
yeah.
Anything that you think will be like especially like from Discord or the personal communications from Delev, anything that just shows that where they circle the wagons, the like here's what we should do about the Nightwave shit, like that thing's a big one because it just shows the blind rage, and we'll meet up tomorrow and see if anything higher concept shows up. And I'm not too worried about it. I think honestly this one we're gonna overthink it, and so we'll do a part one. We'll kind of present it as a teaser, and people, our goal will be to give them the tree trunk, and then the audience will do the rest. It's like tell us more about this, tell us more about this, and I think it's gonna be great. And so Sam, thanks for being a part of it, man.
Oh, you're welcome. And, kind of just on another, side, if you want to talk to me individually, just my career and whatnot, I'm happy to do that too. I know that's what you initially wanted to do, initially, but like, as I told you, my primary goal here is I just want to be able to get the DZ story told because, I mean, I don't think, with all due respect to, Mersh and Nightwave, I kind of feel like everyone else's story has kind of overshadowed the DZ's story in terms
just be there as support. Be there to balance us out, and it's gonna be great. I mean, it's like I have a regret because it's like even though we meandered so much, like I'm like fuck man, I'm like I got part of this recorded, but it's just we're just riffing and we're thinking. It's like as behind the scenes, it's totally honest and upfront. It would at one day, like the hour that I recorded would be cool as like a supplemental thing about how we went about it, but just all the details. I mean, all the fucking details. Like, there is a thing, if you talk it out too much, you lose it. So just keep it fresh on your brain. We'll hold on to the structure. And I just want to just thank you guys. And let's part right now. And we'll meet back tomorrow in email, or if you guys are on Discord, I'll hit you up in there. And then we'll do like a tech run through and make sure everything's. I can do it on a backup channel. We can even do like a little. Like a little 15-minute test run just to make sure everybody's upload speed is decent for it and everything. And I think we'll feel real good about it.
All right, sounds good.
Cool. Sounds good. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Man, this is a perfect time and place to tell this story. So just thank you guys for giving me the scoop, and we'll fucking hit them hard. We will hit those bears hard. I did want to tell you this. I don't see a whole lot of respect for Owen. I see a lot of people just lightly, loosely hanging on like leaves on a tree, just about to be shook off. People, they want to believe this hero myth. They don't want to drive into the details. So let's shake it up. Sound good?
Yeah. I've a lot of people there for the community now instead of Owen, and they're just kind of blind to it.
Yep. I see that too. I see a lot of people who are half in, half out, and we're going to target those guys, and they won't be able to turn away. I got to go, guys. Good night. Thanks so much.
All right, have a good one, Dustin.
All right, see you.
Good one, Sam.
Appreciate it.